Hello, everyone. Hello, listeners and viewers. Welcome back to the Naked Coach Collective podcast today. You have me, Dee, and B, and Ian. So our trio is back. Hello, everyone. How you doing?
I thought
What?
I started getting confused then, thinking there's 4 people because you went there's me, D, B, and Ian. I'm like,
Did I really?
it's 4.
Did I do
Sorry,
that?
sorry.
I think Ian's maths has gone wrong. Don't worry, Dee.
Right. Okay. So today we are trying something new. And it's been a great, I don't know if you heard our Christmas episode. If you did, yay. If you didn't, don't wait till next Christmas to hear it. Go back.
Shame on you.
Shame on you. But we're trying something new. And, realize that actually we haven't really shown you any of our coaching. It's all coaching skills. And actually, if you're looking to get some coaching for yourself and you don't know what it involves, watch this space because we're introducing a regular slot showing you how we coach and talking about topics that may well be interesting to you. So today's topic is reframing. How would we reframe something, a problem, into something that's more manageable, less of a problem, easier? And you'll get little snippets of problems in coaching from each of us. And we're going to start today with the lovely,
Ian.
He's going to be coaching RB. And over to you guys.
Okay, so I'll give a little bit of context, shall I, Ian, around what it is, because we're only doing a snippet, remember? So, this is going to be quite a sensitive subject, actually, for me, because it is a subject that I did have coaching on. And this week we'll see the 4-year anniversary of my sister's death. And it was a sudden loss and unexpected. And I thought it might be really helpful for Ian to coach me on some of that grief. And Ian's going to... we're going to do this bit of coaching and then Ian will explain afterwards the context of the reframe. So I think it's better that we just sort of go into it. If there are a few tears, they are genuine and I am sorry, but I will do my best to compose because it is a tough week this week.
Okay. So why don't you just give us, tell us what's on your mind then, B.
Every year, so since my sister passed, initially I didn't deal with it at all. And then it all came tumbling down like a big building. You know what it reminded me of? Do you remember in the, I don't know, I watched this on telly a long time ago, when they were getting rid of the big chimneys and they would set all the explosives around the bottom of the chimneys in a certain way. And then they would press the button and then this whole thing would just collapse. And they always collapsed inwards because that's how they did them, so they didn't make a mess, if you know what I mean. And that's probably how I felt when it started to hit me. I felt like I was collapsing inwards, which is, I don't know if that's good or not. And 4 years in feels like a long time, but everybody keeps telling me it's not. And 4 years in, I still find it really difficult. There are days when I think about her and I can laugh and I can think about stuff, but I still find it really difficult. Her losses still felt really deeply. And it's only, and I had counselling, and then it wasn't long afterwards I found coaching. And the great thing that coaching did for me was it helped move me forward. Counselling helped me deal with the issues around her death and the guilt that I felt and all of that. But the coaching's the thing that's moved me forward, and it has moved me forward. I would like to be able to get to this time of year and celebrate her death. Just don't feel like celebrating it, as fabulous as it was. And you know what? I feel really, really lonely. She was like my right arm, and it feels like someone's just taken it away. And I don't know how to get past it.
So I hear you saying like you're quite visual representation of the fact that you're crashing in on yourself, and you're really finding it difficult to move forward and celebrate her life. And grief is such a personal journey.
Yeah.
And I just caught something just before you kind of started going into what you were saying then. And you said, if there are tears, I apologise.
Well,
It is okay to feel how you're feeling. It's okay to feel how you're feeling. So are you open to looking at this through possibly a few different lenses?
go for it. Yeah, I feel like this would be really helpful right now. Thank you.
So if your sister could speak to you right now, what do you think she'd say about how you're navigating through this grief and through this particular time of year? What advice might she give you?
Probably tell her to pull myself together. She's quite direct and funny. Huge sense of humour. No, I think she'd probably... The most wonderful thing about her that I miss is her amazing hugs. Right? I'm really not a huggy person. I keep people at, as people ask if they can hug me, I'm not that kind of girl. She never asked. She never had to ask. She just knew when to hug me. So sometimes I visit her at this time of year doing that, hugging me, saying, like you said, it's okay. It's okay to miss me. I also really believe that she is still around. That she's still here. I know not everybody believes that, but... And I know what else she'd be saying. Because there was a time when I was driving, and this is when I got help, when I just thought, if I just carried on driving, go off the edge, and I'd be with her. Just see her again. And listening to me now, she'd be going, no, you're here, you're staying there, you're going to look after my children for me, you're going to make sure they're okay. You're their really special auntie. They'll turn to you when they need you. And she'd probably tell us to find strength together. Like with Poppy and Ryan. I think at the moment, the problem with that is it's all too raw for all of us still. Still so many undealt feelings that we don't talk about her that much. We do talk, Poppy and Ryan probably talk more, but not with the rest of my family. And there's so many other things that have gone on around her death that it just, that's it.
And I want you to imagine somebody else now, someone completely different, who you look up to, almost as a role model. Now, imagine that they do not know you and they do not know your sister, but they're watching this conversation right now. What might they notice about your relationship with your sister? What might they see as her legacy in your life?
Gosh, I don't know. That's a question. Is that... I don't know. The legacy's probably me taking... It is me being auntie and looking after her dad. And I don't know. She'd want me to live my life. I know she would. She was a really larger-than-life character. People think I am, but she was larger than I was in so many ways. I always feel there's a part of her saying to me, just be you, just be you. You know, we both struggled with that all of our lives. Being bigger girls, and both really struggled. And I think now, if she'd known what she'd known, she wouldn't have maybe lived the way she lived. And I try every day to live just by being me. Me is enough. But the loneliness is real. And I don't know how to get over that right now. And you know what? There was one person, and you said about thinking about one person. I was thinking about this before I came on. That I don't really look up to celebrities and things. It's not really my kind of style. But do you know the one person that saw me was Sarah? She chose me out of a room full of people in coaching. She was like week 6 and I was like week 2. And she chose me and messaged me and said, I'd love to catch up with you, like on a coaching session privately, outside of this room. Just knew. She'd lost her brother in a really awful way. And she just knew. And she just connected into me, and just first thing she said was, you're lonely, you feel lonely and lost. She just saw me. And I think she's an amazing woman. And I try and use her as my role model. Oh, I bet this is going to happen tonight. I'm so sorry. Oh, God. I'm sorry to the listeners.
So what would Sarah say about the relationship you and your sister had?
Special. And do you know what? That's the one thing I probably realise now. Not everybody has that relationship with their siblings. Not everybody has that closeness, that, oh, God, it's just that knowing what each other's going to say before you say it. You know, so that like, there's times when we pissed each other off, but it didn't matter. It just, you know what I mean? And there was times where we laughed so hard I nearly wet myself. You know, it's just like, you know what I mean? That real, and that's something that maybe something I've just realised probably is that I can't replace it. And maybe I've been trying to. Maybe that's not how it should be. Maybe I have to be grateful for the fact that I had it. It's a realisation.
What might the future version of you say about how you've honoured her and moved through the past couple of years?
Oh. Future version of me, I wanted to look back and feel proud. Feel proud that I survived. Feel proud that I supported my family, like my niece and nephew and my dad. And my sister, got another sister as well. And that every day I think about, or every day I do things, she's there. Like, you know, I always consider, am I being good? Am I a good woman? Am I a kind woman? You know, am I giving as well as looking after myself? I know that's important. Yeah, and that I did make her proud.
is there a way that you can, so moving forward, is there a way you can honour her memory in a way that feels healing for you in particular?
Yeah. And maybe that's another realisation. When I started on this journey, and you'll know this coaching journey, it was to inspire women to just find the joy in who they were, just be themselves, stop trying to be anyone else, and accept and build a real foundation of self-worth through and I came away from that. I called it body confidence, but it was much more than that. It's not just body confidence. It's self-worth, it's self-love, it's a whole heap of things. And I wrote stuff that from the heart, that I said to people, that I spoke to people, and I got led astray about what it is that about what coaching could do, and felt like it wasn't maybe on the right track and stuff. And now I've sort of feel like a snake weaved all over the place. Snakes go side to side. That's all I've done. I haven't gone forward. I've gone side to side. And I wrote so many. Well, I think I liked my poems about it. Maybe I need to consider what I do with all that passion that I have for living authentically, as opposed to it's sort of gone on the back burner. I always went along those lines because I have a passion for it, because I understand it, and because of her. And because of her passing so young and still never really getting to grips with acceptance of who she was. Yeah. Maybe that's what I need to think. And maybe that's coaching for another day. Helps me.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I know that was kind of obviously for the listener and viewer, that's a very short snippet of essentially coaching. So it's with difficult subjects as well. It's really difficult because you don't want to kind of cut the conversations, etc. But obviously for the format of the podcast, we have to keep it short. But hopefully that gives you a good snippet as to this particular coaching style in terms of the reframing with regards to trying to get other people's perspectives and how that can hopefully help you transform and reframe your thought patterns of whatever it is that you're struggling with. I don't know, B, whether it's okay to maybe circle back round once you've kind of taken off the hot seat a bit, and kind of talk about maybe how that was from the different perspectives for you. Okay. So.
Okay. Thank you very much, B and Ian. I was very interested listening to that because I know, Ian, you say you don't want to interrupt a flow of conversation or anything, but it's really important to remember that coaching and effective coaches often don't say very much, and just one question or just two questions can lead the person being coached to have these realizations. And B, you had a couple of realizations in that, which really, let's face it, you kind of talked yourself, leading from one question, you talked yourself into figuring that out. And that is the power of really good, powerful coaching, and a coachee who is open to exploring those questions. So, very touching, very, very beautiful session. Thank you very much, both of you. And I kind of feel like, well, how do we follow this now?
Oh, sorry.
that we looked at the other person reframe, so there are a few other types of reframe as well.
Yeah.
And, B, do you want to take a little break for a moment while I...
Yeah, you go for it. Yeah, that's fine. And then I'll come. No,
you
yeah,
jump in and coach, do a little bit of coaching with me. I think
absolutely.
Ian's not ready for this. We're going to look at a different reframe now. So a different type of reframe, and I'll be coaching Ian on a subject which has come up in the past in our sessions. It's obviously a big thing that's a part of his life, and I'll just let him talk about it. And we, like we did before, we'll go through it, spend a few minutes coaching, and then talk about the kind of reframe we used. Ian, welcome to my coaching room.
So my kind of issue is that to get where I've got to, I need to work my backside off. And so I work late into the evenings and on weekends, and I'm just completely mentally exhausted. But I can't not do it, despite the fact that I know the kind of detrimental side of what it's having on me.
Yeah.
That's basically the issue.
So what you're saying is that you're working all the time. What do you think has given you this work ethic, if you like?
I suppose it kind of comes from background that I grew up in as a kid. So my mum was always working, and then she'd obviously get home and cook and clean, and she was working all the time, so hard. And my dad as well would work 7 days a week doing kind of manual labor jobs, and I would work with him as well. So I'd go on to the peat works when I was like 8, 9, 10 years old. Not every weekend, obviously, just every so often, and you get like big blocks of clay that have been split, peat that have been split, and you'd literally just, to stop them binding back together, you just pick them up and put them there, and like you just build like it felt like a mile-long wall, but it obviously wasn't a mile. It was like, I don't know, 50 meters or something. But when you're doing that when you're a young kid, it kind of just puts into you this kind of work hard kind of thing. And then I'd work with him, do a lot of landscaping on the weekends away from his other kind of manual labor job. And so I'd be working with him on weekends when I'm a teenager, from like 7 till, God, I can't remember what time it was, but like 10-hour days, I think it was, if I remember rightly. Although there'd be times when I'd be asleep in the car for the first hour because I was so tired. So yeah, I suppose it kind of comes from that background of parents constantly working to try and provide for us.
So you're working to emulate their life? Is it something that, what did it mean to you to see them working on the time? Did they say anything to you? Do you feel like you got their work ethic from a positive perspective? Because, you started off the conversation saying you work in evenings, weekends, and it's to the detriment of yourself. So were they doing it to the detriment of themselves? What did you see?
That they were constantly very knackered. I suppose though it's kind of been good in a way because it's got me to where I'm at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which was high up in the career ladder. And so something that my dad said to me, which I realised I've been carrying around with me, and I've actually been saying to other people as well. So I've been passing it on, but in, I don't know, whatever meaning I had for it. And it was, there's a difference between hard work and working hard. And then there's working hard at hard work. So it's you have to work hard. You have to work hard to get anything. It's basically.
So he instilled that work hard, and he was showing you the kind of work that he did. And so you were thinking, this is the kind of work you need to do to work hard? Is that a fair thing that was going on in your 7, 8-year-old mind, that he's working hard and he's telling me to work hard? What was happening in your head at that point?
It was work hard at hard work is what really kind of stuck in the back of my head.
Well,
But I do not want to do manual labour for the rest of my life, which was his version of hard work. So I have to work extra hard because I'm not doing manual labour. It's not a physical job what I do.
well,
It's not a physical job. You just sat down behind a desk, basically.
okay. And I know that it's a little bit strange, this situation, because we've had this conversation before, but I'm going to try and take it back to the first time that we had the conversation. So, in terms of your father saying, work hard at hard work, and you're making I don't want to say assumption, but you're drawing the conclusion that means that a desk job work, non-manual work, is not as hard as what your dad's doing and what he's saying to you. So in terms of the meaning on that, you put a meaning on your dad's words. Going back to that point then, at the first time, and he said it to you several times, is it something that has come through, or just that one occasion?
I can only remember it the one time.
And it stuck. It stuck. Isn't that amazing? Just one time, right? So your dad has said to you, you need to work hard, son. It's got to be hard work and working hard at hard work. So let's think about how we can make it mean something else. So you took the meaning as desk job, working, not non-manual labor is not as worthy. Was there a worthy element here? Or just not as hard a work as physical labouring work?
I suppose at the time I took it that way, that it maybe wasn't worthy of, not worthy of hard work, but not worthy of his kind of approval of hard work, of what hard work is.
Yeah. So you put a meaning on that. Now, so think about it. And I know you're looking back at your child, but try and put yourself in that child place. And how else could you have taken it to mean? What else could it have meant?
So it's funny this. So since we had that conversation, which is basically this conversation again, I've obviously kind of spoken to like my mother about all this, and it was a case of the meaning behind it was work hard so you don't have to do this type of hard work.
Yeah.
Which is completely opposite of what I thought at the time. And so I completely misinterpreted what he was trying to say to me at the time.
So learning from that, learning from that as an adult, thinking about possible future situations, something that, because let's put it out there as a learning tool for our listeners in this instance, because when you are faced with a situation like you are, somebody has said something, somebody important to you has said something that makes you feel like you need to prove something, you need to do something in a certain way to prove something. Could there be value in just changing the meaning on that? And I don't know how we can I can't think of an up-to-date example, but perhaps maybe somebody that you're mentoring in your, in your day job or something, think about how they might react to something you say. Could they put a different meaning on it? Does that make sense? Is that a good example? Not sure if it is, actually. No, that's not a good example. I don't think. I'm just, I'm sort of trying to bring it up to date to an example that because I'm finding it difficult in the sense that, not difficult, I'm just finding it, because we've talked about this.
It's because we've already gone through it. We've already had the light bulb moment, so it's difficult to, I know what you're saying.
Get back into that zone. But if we bring it up to current day, you get a situation, and the reframe we're talking about here is the meaning. You change the meaning of something. So somebody said something to you, it made you feel a certain way, and then you just put a different meaning on it. So at that time, if you could get it back into the head of your younger self, Dad has said this to me, means I need to work so that I don't have to do this. He doesn't want me to be labouring all my life. That's my dad. Of course he doesn't want that for his son. And so all of a sudden, he's given you an empowering few lines. That makes sense.
Yeah, definitely it is. And there's another example that I can kind of draw on for people as well, because I realise this is tough because we've already had this conversation, so it's difficult to kind of navigate the conversation.
Thought it would be easier, actually. It's not.
Yeah. So there's I was listening to this podcast, and there's a guy who was struggling with his business, and he was being coached on how to get better at whatever it was. And the coach says to him, okay, so who can you go to for help? Who do you know? Who's a resource for you that you can utilize? And he kind of went through a list of people, and he said, any family, friends? And he says, well, my dad owns a business. And it's like way, way, way down on his list. And the coach was like, okay, can you not ask your dad? What kind of business is it? And it was like pretty much exactly the same type of business in the same industry. And he was quite successful. And he's like, well, no, he's always busy. He struggles with time. He's always busy. And the conversation then went on, and he just kept referring back to the fact that his dad was busy. And so he kind of dived into say, okay, so tell us about your life growing up, etc. And it didn't sound like his dad was busy. And so he kind of probed in a little more on, well, where does this come from? When was the first time you thought that your dad was too busy for you? And he eventually got to the point where it was, well, there was this one time when I was a little kid and I wanted to go out and play catch with my dad. And he turned around and said, sorry, I've not got the time for you. I need to get this done. And the coach says, okay, what were you trying to do? What was your dad doing? He says, oh, he was making dinner. I said, okay. So he's got food cooking that he needs to keep an eye on. Could it not just be that he was cooking and genuinely had to look after the food and didn't have time to throw and play catch with you? And he's just like, oh my God. His whole life thinking his dad's too busy for him just from that one moment when he was a little kid.
So in that one moment he created
So that's
This
another
whole
example
meaning on his dad's too busy
of it as
because
well.
he said it that one time.
Yeah.
Okay, we've lost Ian. Have we lost Ian or?
I think it's just frozen.
Okay.
I'm back.
You're
We both froze then. I think my internet cut out
So
at the perfect time.
yeah. So actually what we can deduce is that the meaning comes from you. The words, the situation might come from somewhere else. The setting, the place is coming from, but the meaning, what you think it means, comes from you. And if you can make that into a positive thing, my dad just wants to make sure that I'm not going to be working manual work all my life as hard as he's having to. Which is a pretty reasonable assumption, actually.
It's so simple. It's so simple now. I look back at it.
It really is, yeah.
I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
what was I thinking?
But you had your 9-year-old head on, and it's okay. It is what it is, right? So, yeah. Well done. Anything you want to add on that, B?
I think the one question I might have asked Ian, bearing in mind you've had this conversation before, is what are you doing now differently?
So, in the full-time job sphere, unless I have to, for like go lives and all that kind of stuff, I do not do over the hours I'm supposed to. Ever since the moment of that conversation completely changed the way I worked on that. And it freed up so much time for the likes of this podcast, for the likes of continuing with my coaching journey. It freed up so much time and so much headspace. It was crazy.
It really did. I remember, it was, we put into place little actions. Do you remember? It was almost 2 years ago, and I remember it so well because you were a brilliant coachee right that day. Because you went away and you did everything that we thought. It was fantastic. Really, really good. I loved
it. It was such a light bulb moment. I know I've said it before. So yeah, thank you, B. It really did kind of change everything for me.
I think the other thing is, from my perspective, I'd be like, so now, because and you're not doing any overtime unless there is a need for it, is the job suffering for it? That's my first question. Exactly. And the other question is, who's benefiting from it?
Other people. So junior members of the team are now kind of picking up more and more responsibilities, which they I kind of weren't letting them previously because I was just getting on with it all myself. So I was being selfish as well.
And you weren't comfortable. You felt like you needed to control it all.
Yeah, I wasn't knowingly being selfish from a bad point of view. It was just, I need to get this work done. There's no one else that can do it. I just need to get it done. Whereas there are people that can do it. You just need to let go in.
And ultimately, who else benefits from it then?
Well, me, but
And
all the other people as well. So, yeah.
Very good.
excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
B, you ready to
I am ready. So
get cracking?
yeah. So I breathed. I'll have space. Okay. So I am going to be coaching D, and this is a different type of reframe. And I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to let D just give you a little bit of context, and then we'll plump in.
Okay, so this is all quite it's an evolving issue. So I have both my parents are quite elderly, and unwell. So they're not well elderly parents, and I've been struggling with being that, what we call the sandwich generation, sort of looking after elderly parents, still have children, and being pulled in all these directions emotionally as well as in time and resources. But I just feel so guilty that I'm not doing more for them. And it's a struggle to see them. It's a struggle to... Oh, I never really said that out loud. Yeah, it's a struggle to see what they're going through, and my heart hurts. It's just so. Yeah, it's that's basically it. I don't live that close to them, but I do get to see them as often as I can, and I feel like it should be more. It's just a bit of a situation,
Okay. And I think your situation will resonate with a lot of people. And when you were talking about the sandwich generation, I think the context I'll get out there is it's not just a case that Dee has elderly parents who are unwell. You also have a daughter as well, don't you? So you're what we call the sandwich. You're the one in the middle. You're caring below and you're caring above. Yeah, like the cheese in the sandwich. So I hear what you're saying, and I think my first question to you is guilt.
it's a lot of guilt.
Okay. And I suppose my next question would be, why the guilt?
I mean, I have thought about this. I just feel like I should just be there all the time. It's I mean, I just feel like I should be there. It's really, it's just something that is very... It is obviously a parent-child thing, but it's also there's the added... I've got an added sort of cultural element of it as well. Is that I just always grew up thinking that my parents would be... I would be able to look after them, be everything for them. The thing is, they have care needs that actually I couldn't do on an ongoing basis at the moment because, I couldn't, but I could be there.
Okay.
And not being there is... I know they'd like it, I feel like... I mean, it's a conflict. There's such a conflict. I can't work. And I know I work remotely, but I can't work from there because, everything I do needs confidentiality, needs space. And so I can't be productive and work there. So that's why I have to, think about when I'm there, I'm just there for them. It can't be, I'm just not local enough to pop in. And so...
Can I ask, have you got, is there other children?
I have older brother and sister, and they're magnificent, actually. We are very, very lucky that we support each other 100%. And we actually would rather we put ourselves out than put them out, put each other out, or we all feel the same way. So there is a shared responsibility there that we all take on board, and we do what we do. We do the things that we're good at.
Okay. And do you share the visiting and the spending time with them?
Mm-hmm. I'm the furthest away, so my brother's round the corner, so he's there almost every day. And if there's an emergency or something, he'll be there. My sister's sort of an hour away, and I'm a couple of hours away, and so she visits every week as well, and she's made lots of changes to her working schedule to, sort of gone from 5 days to 4 days, longer days. She's working a full week, but she's only doing it. So she's, so she's really doing that as well. And she's doing that for the same reasons as I'm feeling now. That,
So I don't want to put words in your mouth. Is there an element of guilt that's coming from you being the furthest away, and maybe you feel like you haven't made as many changes?
yeah, definitely. I've moved around a lot, and I definitely feel like, I'm too far away. Yeah. But then I sort of look back and I say, well, that's my choice. Those are my circumstances. That's what's happened. I can rationalize, I can, but it just doesn't go away.
I just want to go back to something you said earlier, which I think is quite important. And that was when you said, I can't work there because I need the space and the privacy, etc. But when I'm there, I'm there. Just focus on that for a moment. Being there and being really there, or just being down the road and popping in.
I know what you're saying. It's a different kind of being there, isn't it? It's like, yeah, maybe I should do more of that, because I am, when I'm there, I'm really there, but I am also, I'm conscious that I'm busy. I'm an organizer. I'm a tidier upper. I'm a, put things away, organize, make sure the medicines are all up to date, make sure there's enough, I'm that person that does all that, make sure there's enough supplies and all of that. But I think the being there thing is an important distinction to think about.
Time stopped tomorrow. What would time stop tomorrow for one of them? What would you want to remember yourself for doing? What would you feel good about?
It's a really good question. And I have asked myself that question, but hearing it being asked has made it feel a bit. Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah. I think, so I have asked myself, and ask me again.
So if time stopped tomorrow for one of your parents, what would you be able to feel really good about? Okay, let me put it this way. Let me try and reframe that for you. If time stopped tomorrow and all you've done is be there and organise, or if time stopped tomorrow and you were really there with them, being there, having fun, chatting, games, whatever those things are. Which one's most important?
I'm going to take that with me.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that with me because it's really it's really made me figure a couple of bits out, actually. I like I think I'm not straight up honest. I think I need to do more to answer that question, as in when the time comes to feel happy with myself. And that's what I've realized.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now I do feel guilty, and maybe that guilt will never go away, but I've got to keep that question in my head.
Maybe
Coming from you, not from me.
Or maybe
I
think
don't know why
about...
there's a difference there. Why does that make a difference? That you said it it's really weird.
Yeah. And maybe think, the one thing I would finish on is gratitude. It's a really big driver of being able to reframe things. If you can see things from a different perspective, from a sort of gratitude perspective, whereas at the moment you're feeling the guilt, a little bit of a deficit perspective, they've got all this wrong with them, etc. And maybe seeing it from a perspective of, I've got this time with them. I can really be there. Even though I can't be there as much as I would like, when I am there, I could really be there. Maybe that would make a difference for you.
Yeah, I think it would. It's been something that I've been aware of, and yeah, I think that is the key, that I have the opportunity still. So bringing the gratitude into it, I have the opportunity still to make sure that when that day comes, I will be happy with myself. It's like giving me another chance. It's like, it's a really important... I didn't know what would come from this, to be honest.
No,
It really didn't know. I didn't even know what I was going to tell you. Yeah, thank you. That was very special. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We'll follow that up.
Yeah, let's follow it up. I feel what I've learned is that I have still got a chance. That day is going to come, and I have to reconcile what I can do with what I should feel like I should do.
And I think that's where I was trying to get to, is you feeling what you should do. Maybe ask yourself, what do I actually need to do right now with the time I have that will make it feel right for me when the time comes.
That's so...
Leave it on that.
Bravo, thank you.
Ian, anything else?
I think listening in, it's so clear to hear the kind of feeling of guilt that you have, Dee. So I think one thing I would ask is there anything that you can identify that you're grateful for about how you have shown up, even if it's not perfect?
I'm grateful for my it's a difficult one. We never really think about how well we're doing, right, in certain areas. So it's difficult. So when you say, are you grateful for it? I'm grateful that I have still got the opportunity. And I know there's a lot of people out there, you know, who don't have their parents still, who don't have their, you know, and I'm it or the opportunity to be there in these sorts of times. I think I'm grateful that they're still around. I'm grateful that they. It's hard. I want to do the coaching, but I'm not grateful that they're not well. You know, I'm not. I'm fucking pissed off, right?
Yeah, that's all. But does it maybe?
But what are you grateful for about how you have shown up?
Well,
Again, even if it's not perfect.
yeah.
I'm grateful that I can do the things that I can do and have done so far for them. You know, I'm grateful that I'm tenacious and I want the best for them, even if it is from a perspective of making sure they're looked after properly. I'm grateful when my mum smiles at me or something, you know, and my dad dances with me because he's got dementia and he loves music and he loves dancing. So we do, you know, you know this, B, don't you? Right? So,
I do.
So I'm grateful for those moments, and I will be even more grateful and aware of those moments because, you know, this is rare. These are rare times, and these are times that uncharted. You know, I don't know. I don't know how to behave half the time. It's just honestly, I kind of float through the situation because it's so friggin' alien to me. But I am grateful that I can do what I can. Sorry, that's not very.
No, it's no sorry. It's
That's what it feels like. Yeah,
Why is it women have this innate habit, including me, to say sorry?
Yeah.
Give it a rest.
I feel
say sorry and honour your feelings. That's what I keep telling myself.
And it's hard for me because I'm not a exposed feeling kind of girl. You know, it's not
like that. Okay. So, as you might have guessed, that was what we call the gratitude reframe. So it's using a perspective of what are we grateful for that we've already done, that we've got the option and the time to do, and it's actually it's one of the perspectives that I find really empowering to help me. Like, so if I might be looking at somebody and being a little bit like, oh, blah, blah, then I'll think about, well, hold on a minute, what if they're feeling like this or if they're feeling like that? You know what I mean? It gives you that, you know, that perspective to go, well, actually, I'm really lucky and I'm really grateful because I've had that. They haven't. You know, it's that kind of thing. And I think I love that that context. Thank you, Dee.
Thank you. Thank you both.
All right.
Whoa.
Here we go.
Guys.
An hour.
I don't know.
10 minutes each, we said.
Right. Just to finish off for the listeners. Okay. We'd love to know what you think of the format of this sort of session because we're trying it. We want to bring some more interest and live and, you know, interest into the sessions. And I think I'm going to listen back to this, and I think it will be interesting to listen. So if you have any feedback, please do get in touch with us. Leave a comment or just tell us what you think. We're big girls and boys now. We can handle it.
I can't. Be gentle. Be gentle with me.
Right. Well done, everyone. I love you guys. I'm really love you guys.
Do you know what I think the listeners can take away from this as well? We are coaches. but we're really not that good at coaching ourselves sometimes. In the best format, when you hear the people say coaches need coaches, it's so true, because sometimes you're so in the thick of it, you can't see that perspective. You can't ask yourself those questions. It's so much harder. And tonight were real. They were real things that we're either going through right now, or that we've gone through and are coming out the other side. None of this was staged. This was all just off the cuff.
Yeah. I mean, we planned what topic, but I just wanted to say on what your earlier point be, it really was interesting how something I've been telling myself anyway just sounded so different and so much more powerful coming from you, coming from my coach. It was a very weird thing, and I would be very interested, to explore if you guys have ever felt that at some point,
Absolutely. Ian, even tonight, I mean, there's a couple of questions there I've been asked before, but I haven't come up with the same conclusions. But then maybe I wasn't ready at that time because of the process. So I think tonight I had a couple of epiphanies that were like, interesting. Something I'm going to have to talk about more, Ian.
A new client.
Anyway, really,
well, I know.
This is not going to be every week. We have going to have different things going on every week. So this year's format is going to look different, and we'd love your feedback on what you like, what you don't like. Be honest, and what you'd like more of, what you'd like to see more of, if you'd like to get more involved. Let's know. Fantastic.
Like and subscribe.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay.
Easy.
And share. Exactly. Sharing is caring. Remember that. Okay, so we're going to sign off. Here we go. See if we can get it right.
Until next time, be there.
Be there.
And be naked. And that's a wrap.